Dan Illman, Mike Beer, 2-year-olds on full display at Kentucky Downs on Sunday, running for big purses, including race number 8. Let's throw up the field for the Untapable. 6.5 furlongs on the lawn. $1 million is the purse. 2-year-old fillies, gigantic field, 12 in the body of the race. 13 through 15, the also eligibles. She's All Charm. Good looking debut winner at Ellis Park for Owen Hardy.
Yeah, it did look good winning that race. Got it done narrowly at the end, Dan, but I thought did some good things there. But there are several horses you could say that about in here. There's some talent in this field.
The horse is switching surfaces for the first time, so a lot to unpack in this year's edition of the Untapable, including the pace scenario. We'll take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, the horses that have been competing on dirt, the 10 Andrea, the 12 Viggy Doll. They're expected to show speed if they handle the surface, which is kind of a big if. The 7 Unchained Elaine has run well on dirt, but also showed speed in the 1 turf start. I'm expecting a lot of early gas from that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's enough speed in here to suggest this pace will be fast. And I would, as far as the paces, I would just point out that the 2 Ultima Grace is very likely to come out of the gate running here and try to make the early lead for Wesley Ward.
This horse was very fast in the debut at Keeneland, and then, of course, we won't have pace ratings for the most recent start at Royal Ascot, but was very fast out of the gate in there. The 5 Winfinity tries turf for the first time as the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. Let's start things off with the 1 She's All Charm. You see her tactically placed on the pace projector, and that's the kind of tactical speed she showed in the debut. She was 4 wide entering the backstretch. She made a bursting move to the lead. Was a little bit green drifting towards the inside, but once confronted late, always found some more. It was an effort she could build on.
Very promising. She's got pedigree behind her to take on a little more distance. And I know it's only a furlong on paper here, Dan, but these 6.5 furlongs at Kentucky Downs, they play long. She's bred to handle it. She did a lot of good things first time out.
Ultima Grace, the number 2, is one of those typical Wesley Ward debut winners. What was she, 1-10 in her debut at Keeneland, going 4.5 on the dirt? And considering the pedigree, no surprise that Wesley decided to run this horse at Royal Ascot. He's had so much success there in the past. This one just didn't take a lot of money in that race. A big giant field in the Queen Mary, but the speed was there.
Yeah, the speed was there. It didn't work out for her. She didn't run particularly well in that race. But she did run well first time out. And I know it's on a different surface, but she's really bred to be a turf horse. And she showed that she has a little bit of talent in her career debut. I feel like the Queen Mary's just a race that you kind of give her a pass for. Now she shows up here. This is a way better spot for her. And I think she's going to show speed.
Give Life found a very good spot for Nacho Correas, who's been debuting some of his promising 2-year-olds at Colonial Downs over the summer. This one found a spot in a 5.5 furlong race. It was not the strongest field in the world, and Give Life made them pay.
Yeah, ran well in there, though. I mean, it's not like it was for a 5.5 furlong sprint. It's not like it was a particularly fast pace that she was sitting off of. She ran at the end of that race. This trainer really knows what he's doing. I won't be surprised when this horse really jumps up here and is very competitive at a price.
I have a feeling the number 4 Civetta has some ability, Mike, for Brendan Walsh. This is a Godolphin homebred. Buy into mischief. The Dam was a multiple grade 2 stakes winner on the turf, and Civetta's a half to Santine, a multiple grade 1 stakes winner going long. The fact that this filly ran hard from start to finish, winning at 5.5 furlongs, makes me think she's got some ability.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, first of all, she's bred to be a real good horse, and she's bred to go a lot longer than 5.5, and even this 6.5. So we'll see how much she can improve from start 1 to start 2. I think she did do some good things first time out, Dan. Starting with showing speed, because it's not like her pedigree, is slanted towards tons of pace. But I would just point out, it's a race where she and the runner-up just sort of went 1-2 around the track. They hooked up early, and they just sort of raced each other, and nobody else really did anything. So it's hard to say how strong that race was, but I think this horse might be okay.
The 5 Winfinity is by a quality is trained by a quality under the radar conditioner in John Ortiz, who found a Virginia certified stakes race for this one's winning debut at Colonial Downs. Now tries the turf. I like the not this times on just about anything, but there's not a ton of turf underneath the first family at the very least.
I wanted to see maybe a little more performance. I could say that there's turf pedigree just on the face of it. There's not that much performance in there. This horse did have a really fast pace in front of her when she came running to win her debut, but this trainer is excellent. And if he's going to make this surface switch and run this horse here for a big purse, I suspect he thinks she's pretty good.
She's a funky dreamer. The number 6 is going to try turf for the first time. Debut going 4.5 against the boys at Hawthorne. No problem. They try stakes horses at Prairie Meadows. No problem. Now they're going to throw a little bit of test at her, facing tougher horses. And of course, the surface switch, she's by McLean's Music.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't mind the McLean's music on the turf day. I didn't see a ton of other pedigree though for this horse to suggest that she's going to be better on this surface. And as well as she's running her first two starts, I'm not knocking those. She's probably going to have to be better than that against this field.
Unchained Elaine, the number 7, has good early speed, only has raced once on turf. That was the second lifetime start, a race where she faced off against a couple of next out winners, with the winner coming back to take a stake on the Tapeta at Woodbine with a 71 buyer. She is fast. I wonder if 6.5 at Kentucky Downs against other speeds is going to be her bag, but she scored last time out over a muddy dirt course at Gulfstream.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's not like her only turf race is terrible. I mean, it was, again, it's one of those fake stakes races at Gulfstream Park. It wasn't really a stakes race, but the horses that she was in against there have turned out to be pretty good, and she did not embarrass herself that day. I like her getting back to turf here, Dan. It seems like maybe she improved last time on dirt, but I think she's a better turf horse.
I really like the ride that the number 8 Kilwin got last time out at Ellis Park. Broke from post position 2 and secured the inside in the pocket on the backstretch to get a very nice pace tracking, ground saving trip. The pace wasn't very fast. It was imperative to stay close. And then Kilwin did the rest, beating 3 next out winners. You never know how these horses are going to handle Kentucky Downs,
Right.
but at least she's a half sister, a one timer who loves it.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That's one of the things that I liked about her. She's bred to, I guess if you're bred to handle a turf course, that could come into play here. She was awful handy winning first time out. Though she won that race with basically on her own after getting bet. As you already pointed out, the second place finisher came back. She won easy in her next start. The third place finisher came back. She won easy in her next start. She might have beat a pretty good field, and she did it handily.
Abianto, the number 9, was a maiden winner second time out at Saratoga, going 5.5. Let's watch that race right now. I thought this horse got a set up against a little bit of a questionable field, moved 4 wide on the turn, splits horses, and is very game to win. They got washed off last time out in
Yeah.
the Bolton Landing and ran on dirt. This is her preferred surface. 6.5 should be no problem, and she should get a setup. If she runs back to this race, she's a logical contender.
Yeah, absolutely. She runs fine in here. I mean, that's her stablemate, a first-time starter who she's holding off at the end. But I thought Abby and Toe ran well in here. She had an impossible trip in her debut at Aqueduct and ran way better than it looks. Improved second time out. Forget about that last race.
Andrea, the number 10, is one of the first-time turf runners in this field by Young Stallion, 1,000 words. 0 for 9 with first-time turf runners, but too early to tell how they'll be on the grass. First starter out of the mare, very fleet debut winner at Gulfstream, likely to be part of the pace. Saffie Joseph doing little wrong, and if you want a turf jockey, you go to Frankie.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we'll see some speed out of this horse. I really saw no turf pedigree to get me interested, as well as she ran first time out.
Dream Girl, the number 11, Irad Ortiz picks up the mount on this first-time turf performer by Motown. 12% winners with first-time turf runners. Damo for 2 on the surface, fold 1 turf runner that did not win.
Yeah.
They tried her in the Schuylerville off of a debut win, and that didn't work out.
Yeah, her debut win at Churchill was the slower division of split maiden special weights there. She was, okay in there. She didn't do anything in the Schuylerville, and she's not bred for grass.
Vicky Dahl, like Dream Girl, was a debut winner who ran in the Schuylerville and showed some speed that day. She's pretty fast out of the gate. I don't think they minded being washed off in the Bolton Landing last time out, and they got a stakes placing. The Vacomas are running. We'll see how they handle turf. 1 for 7 thus far. First-time turf runners. Not a ton of turf on the bottom.
Yeah, not a ton, but there is some. You got to go back. You got to go, beyond the first generation. But there's a little bit of turf in here if you go beyond that to the second family. Her debut was really, really good, Dan. That was the faster division of the split maiden special weights, and she was impressive. And she was a little disappointed in the Schuylerville, but she got caught up in a pretty fast pace that day.
13 through 15 entered as also eligibles. I guess if the 15 perfect figure somehow gets in, I'd be somewhat interested in that Brad Cox trainee.
The horse ran really well first time out, but so did, I thought, the 13 Cotilliard. I thought that horse looked really good in her second start.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Untapable Race 8 at Kentucky Downs. On Sunday, Mike, you're going with Kilwin. Very versatile and handy in the debut. That should come in nicely and handy for her second time out.
Yeah, just really liked her debut. And again, we've talked about this before, Dan. Rusty Arnold, he seems to know which horses he wants to bring here. This horse was really impressive first time out. I'm going to take her on top. I threw the Ward horse in there. I think she's going to run a lot better than she ran at Ascot when we last saw her.
Aviento showed off a good kick at Saratoga. I question what she beat that day, but she certainly ran well enough to deserve consideration here. She's all charm, hinted at some ability. I'm a little concerned she's going to take a little bit too much money in this spot. Kilwin the 8, your top pick is a horse I would respect. I'm curious to see how Winfinity does from maybe the back of the pack in the turf debut. 8249 for Mike, 9185 for me. It's the Untapable. Just a huge afternoon of racing at Kentucky Downs on Sunday. Good luck.